How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to the ultimate branded Dracotail guide. I am joined by a very good friend and an esteemed content creator in the scene, which if you're subscribed to my channel, you're probably subscribed to his as well. It is Metagames GX. How's it going, friend?
How's it going, my man? We're here to cook Dracotail. I'm very much looking forward to it. Thanks for bringing me on.
Now, with the new set, Justice Hunters, we have a new archetype called Dracotail, which, tell me what you think about this, Chris. How do you find it so far?
Yeah, so when I first saw Dracotail come out, I was looking at it kind of as a pure deck, but as I started testing it more, I just found that it also worked as an incredible supplementary engine to Branded. I think that it's a very good fusion engine that's going to be used for formats to come, whether in probably a ton of different fusion piles. But I really took note to the fact when the when the bridge came out for brand or for Dracotail, like Dracotail Malulu or Muller in the OCG, this card this card just kind of put it all together. And since then, you know, I think it really does enhance what Branded was doing, and it just makes a deck that's better than what either pure Dracotail is doing or what pure Branded Despy is doing at the moment, just from everything that I've been testing. So, you know, looking forward to showing.
So today we're going to be looking at the deck list that Chris has brought to this video, and also replays for the new format. And Chris is going to guide us through the gameplay. Honestly, like, this is, you know, as much as his video as it is mine, because we're going to be, basically, I'm going to be learning from him as well, because I haven't been testing this deck a lot. And also I wanted to address the fact that if you guys don't know that, if you're watching at home, when they first revealed the Dracotail cards, the dark one, the Malulu, was revealed way like at the end of the release cycle. So basically, if you saw this for the first time, you saw like a bunch of dragons and spellcasters, which is great. But what you didn't see is any lights and darks. That was the whole thing where I was like, okay, they got themselves a branded fusion. This is obviously a fusion archetype. It has good bones, but it doesn't bridge. And then they released a dark monster that sets any Dracotail card from deck. That was awesome. All right, now I think it is time for us to jump into the deck profile that you've brought for this video today. And let's just, you know, take the wheel, start us off. Like, first of all, just from my first impressions, again, like, this is my first time seeing this as much as it is you guys. There is a lot, it's 60 cards, obviously, very OCG style. And there's, like, surprisingly not a ton of Dracotail cards, especially in the main deck. But yeah, take the wheel, show us the deck, and let's discuss it.
So you might see 60 card and be a little bit scared, but I'll reason it with this. The new archetypes essentially don't necessitate you to open certain non-engine, kind of like the last format did, with a lot of, you know, whether it's Malice and just kind of Protos piles like Ouroboros Hand Rip. You're gonna be effectively seeing a lot less of those decks, and even less, you know, post a ban list coming up in a month from now or so. Essentially, with, you know, Yummy, Canine, and Dracotail, a lot of those end boards end up being just not as oppressive necessarily on their face, and a lot of their interactions don't do too well into Branded. Branded is a deck that doesn't really care about removal, and it also doesn't really care about the Canine cards a lot of the time, because a lot of the Branded engine ends up not having to activate in the graveyard or the hand, which obviously would trigger, you know, the best hand trap of the format coming up is, you know, in Canine Azuna, which effectively makes it so if you use an effect, for a monster effect from your hand or your graveyard on your opponent's turn, you're going to be giving your opponent, you know, 2 free level 5 level 5s to do whatever they want with. So I think, like, the fact that, you know, we aren't going to be running a whole lot of, we don't necessarily need to run Super Poly. I think Super Poly is like one of the best cards in Branded, but as you see, we're only running Droplet, Fubulos, and then we're running a light Dracotail engine. We'll kind of go by that bit by bit. I think with Dracotail and Branded, you really have to be careful about the ratios, because there's a lot of normal summons in both the decks, whether it's Lucius and Dracotail or Luber and Branded. So in my version, I'm choosing to run the lighter Dracotail engine and running the heavier Branded engine, because I think that the Branded engine just does a lot better into the upcoming format, whether, because of the K9 cards. I think also, a single board breaker a lot of the time gets you pretty far into the K9 board or the Yummy board, for instance, and you just end up outgassing Dracotail in the mirror with the Branded cards.
Right, so let's jump into the replay. We're gonna be showing both hands here, and let's look at our opening hands. So you are going second at this one, right?
Yes, we are going second with an all-engine hand into Yummy.
Yeah, and we have two Charmies on the Yummy side, and Sales Ban is interesting. It's not going to hit anything on the Branded side. So basically just the normal one-card combo and a Prosperity to dig for anything else. But we're not going to give our opponent any information on what we're playing anyway. They only go for 3 because they do have combo. But interesting that they don't go for like Obedience School just to push more. But normally Yummy combo, Field Spell into Synchro. They do have okay discards here because they have 2 Charmies in hand.
Yep.
They get Surprise, Metal Marcher. We're going to make some Heralds here. They use the Surprise, and then they set Dominus Purge. So we draw, of course we draw Fualis for turn. What a great top deck, as always. Okay,
yes.
Tell me a little bit of what goes through your mind here, because this is, if you haven't played against Yummy, the thing is that their board is extremely annoying to play against. It's sort of like, in my testing group, we've been comparing it to Floowandereeze a little bit. It kind of feels like that when you're playing it, because things move all over the place and it's really annoying. But I think actually Fualis, now that I'm thinking about it, Fualis is an insane top deck here, because they summon probably more from the extra deck on your turn than their turn.
Yeah, they can actually just end on like a board that gives you like 1 if not 2 draws if you Fualos them on their own turn, and they will still be able to kind of do their thing depending on what their hand is. So it is actually just kind of, in my experience, just better on their own turn, but because it forces them to have to Herald, and if obviously they started Obedience, then they aren't going to even have that to begin with. So I think that Fualos is still actually quite premium into the Yummy deck, even if I had just kept it and saved it for that situation. It makes it so you can just kind of keep playing into their board with Engine, because like I kind of mentioned before, like I think the Yummy interruptions don't grow well into Branded, but I think Herald does hit Branded quite hard, so it does force that, which is the most important part in general.
Yeah, so we do start with the Fua. It's banished, but it's not in the grave, yeah. And they let it go. Draw phase. Okay. So let's see what we do now.
Yep.
Fusion deployment. They do still have a negate on field, so we're probably not going to go for Albaz.
I need to force the Herald here, and like Fallen of Albaz typically actually just forces that kind of thing there. And I know I have Fualo, so I can kind of start dumping my hand a little bit more, so I can start breaking his board. He's going to be forced to have to summon from his extra deck, so I think an Albaz play was definitely just like the better play, because I have the Retribution in the hand, so that obviously gets me into a play with Cartesia, since I'll have Albaz in rotation, so I can just special the Cartesia and then dodge Imperm on a kit, and then also have the Retribution in play. So
sure, that's definitely forces it, destroys the Albaz. We do have the Retribution in the graveyard, and now we can play with Cartesia, and we also have Kit, so that's like another option. They tag out, and soon we are going to start drawing. They do have Cupsy, which is going to draw them a card. They draw into Obedience School, and then they do go Snatchy here. Okay.
Yep.
So we're going to get our first draw.
He ends up going
so good.
into the Lubellion's perfect draw. So from here he ends up specialing back from the graveyard off of his Synchro, and here I can just kind of Lubellion's the best discard in the world for this deck, and also forces a lot of things with it lost, so that's just one of those situations why I run 3 of those. He's gonna go into Snatchy here, into Synchroing, which gives us a thrust, and at this point,
Yeah,
I just have basically all the pieces I need.
Yeah. So they're gonna try to probably banish the Lubellion from grave or something. And they replace the field spell, so they get an extra pop. They banished the Retribution. Do they?
Yes, I was actually somewhat surprised about that too.
This is like someone who might know what they're doing a little bit. This is very interesting. Like no clueless player will banish this card.
He's played against lots of branded, so
Yeah, probably.
I definitely was aware.
Okay, we get hit. Okay, that's good. That's pretty good, honestly, because honestly, like with the Serenir and the opening, like this Retribution would have been insane in the grave. But we still have access to a lot.
Yes, and I'm actually just going to get greedy here. I'm not even going to go into the Lubellion play here. I'm just going to discard the Saronir because I'm going to be able to get to Branded Fusion most likely. So I'm going to be able to get to Lubellion one way or another. I end up discarding. Oh, did I not discard for that? Oh my god. Oh, yeah, no, I did not. That's about.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, we were late on the discard. yeah, we were late on that.
Okay, so they basically force out a fusion, I guess, even though it's going to get booked.
This is typically where Yummy has to actually book you. Like, there's no other really great place. Like, they could book you on Albion, or your fusions, but you can fuse from face down, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but I wonder what was the play here? It was like, when did they activate Snatchy? Like, you activated Branded Opening. Did they chain Snatchy to that? I think they did, right?
That's going to be on the resolution. I know it was a little unclear from the replay, but basically after I discarded off of the opening, there was the resolution, and then he ended up going into, I believe, the Snatchy there. So maybe we might have to go back a second on that.
That's fine. We have Branded Fusion in hand.
So yeah, we get the Branded Fusion. He ends up popping with the Cookie, but I do have the Branded Opening just to keep a body on board to force things, and we do get the Titaniclad, which is always just a great send off of the Grand Guignol or a High Spirits going second to help further try to break the board. And
Okay,
he
so
goes into the Samsara.
Yeah, so now we're going to try to go into another Herald, but this will also... Oh my god. This will also cause a draw. So basically, like, this Fua play was crazy. Because, like, him not negating the Fua basically kind of costed them the game here. They can pop the Granguignol.
Yeah.
Which is still going to be live, by the way. It's still going to give us access to Quem. Like, essentially, we could have Granguignol here as well.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, but with this and the droplet, it's kind of Jover anyway. They gave us like 4 or 5 draws, was it, during this turn?
Yeah, it was just a crazy amount of draws, and the second game I ended up going against a lot more non-engine, so, and my hand's a little bit weaker, but that's okay. He's gonna go into the full.
So we're basically gonna expect the same type of board, just like a 1 card. But he has Droll Nib. Oh, he discards the Nib. Okay. It is good when like Branded is pushing into you, like to nib them eventually. It's like fine.
I guess he just valued the Droll. Droll's pretty good against Branded when they're trying to board break, to be fair. Like actually that is straight up the floodgate hand trap I fear most when trying to break a board.
Yeah. So we get Raigeki off of the one Raigeki, by the way, off of so interesting. Well, they do have to negate it, but let's see what happens. So basically this will force out the Herald, which means our graveyard is fine. We can Lubellion now. We get a tag out into a draw, and we get a Serenir in hand. They're gonna draw. They don't place the field spell. Probably forget. Serenir is gonna go for, yeah, and they're gonna just deny that. Serenir is gonna go for the cookie. They're just gonna deny that with surprise. Then we're gonna synchro again into Lilipo, which is gonna summon 2 negated. We have Kit here. And they bell the Kid. Yeah, big brain. Again, we thought this player was familiar. Okay, so
this
interesting.
This is my favorite 2-card combo, but he does draw a very strong hand. Ash Meowls is okay, I think. It's kind of weird side into Branded, I see sometimes. I think we play around it for the most part.
It's funny because, like, you're playing against Branded Dracotail, and now there are 2 Ash targets. Do you Ash this? Yeah, we do. We don't Ash this. This is so much value.
Yep. And sending Tragedy is really insane. Altharion always, Altharion going first gets you always back, a piece that you need. Targeting the Phymena to get that back, and then also going second, you can just dump your whole hand and break a board with it. It's just so crazy. And here
doesn't
we can
matter.
just go
We have the
Branded
duplication.
Fusion.
Yeah.
I like to go Branded before the Dracotail cards if I can, because if you set up Branded Lost before going first, before you go into the Dracotail cards, you can obviously then just get the value off of the Branded Lost by fusing a lot of the time with your 1-card Branded combo. You're just not able to do that, but now the Dracotail cards help you with that.
Yeah, so fun. We have Phymena to fuse into Granganil because we can. And then we're going to get... I'll be on the Branded Dragon. We currently don't have Albaz in rotation, but this deck probably is going to trigger the Granganil, so we're going to have Quem at some point. Cartesia goes back to hand. And then,
That's always very important. When you only have Grand Guignol, when you have like just Grand Guignol, you could always just send the Albion to connect into the Quem. Instead of just sending another Titanclad, it's just like way better to send the Albion. So
yeah, so they just dump 2 Charmies, which I think is very fair. Because Branded is like, this graveyard isn't going to be the same in like 2 minutes, so you never know what's going to happen. We have Cupsy, which we negate, which prevents from getting to, first of all, the field spells, but also surprise. And we send the Granganil because we honestly don't need it at the moment. We also have Fusion Duplication, which is like also Flame. Like the setup here with Altharion being like a vanilla, it doesn't really matter.
It's just a body, and that's you'll see. This is why games 2 and 3, it's just very free to run the Fusion Duplication. You can be on very low card advantage and get ashed and still just end on your full end board. So we're just gonna end up sending the Ido here, which gets us into the full Sanctifier lock, as long as you have a Light Spellcaster in rotation, which we did. And the Dracotail Flame is also just one of the most insane cards, I think, for Branded. Like, we used to run Blazing Branded King in some formats to deny...
No, we just don't need that.
And now we just have a better version that's just for free. You get it off of just resolving Dracotail cards. So, now you only lose to effectively a droplet on that line.
Okay, so this was a very interesting match. I think this was a really, really good showing of some of the interest. Obviously, like, good hands and stuff, but if you're like watching this now and you haven't played against Yummy, like board breakers and stuff, their board keeps changing all the time. So it's really hard to like gauge what a single card you're gonna play is gonna do. But I think this was really awesome to learn. I think I'm definitely like expect to see videos of me playing this at locals or just a cooking video. We're gonna do something like that for sure when the cards finally land. And again, Chris, Metagames GX, thank you so much for your time. Let the people back at home know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can check me out over on my channel, Metagames GX. If you want to see me cook with this deck, I want to just thank Galzo for having me on. I really do appreciate it. It was fun showing off the deck, and looking forward to you also cooking with the deck, because I do really have genuine confidence in this being the next best step for Branded. So thanks for having me on, brother.
Sure. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and of course the link to Metagames GX channel is going to be in the description, so go over there right now and drop us up there as well. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.